That's a complicated question because I was a really shy kid. So I think if you had asked me at any point growing up, Morgan, are you a leader? I would have said probably no, that's what really outspoken people do. So it might not have been until I really was much older, working at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau when I was chosen to be a senior advisor to the director, that I felt like, oh wow, like I'm really being recognized as a leader, and I felt confident in that. Well, I think I've always had a sense that I wasn't scared of speaking out about what I felt was right. And I would say now that that, to me, is one of the most important parts of being a leader. And I do remember, in elementary school, there was a kid that was getting picked on, and we were in line for something. Getting picked on because he was, maybe like smelled differently or wasn't dressed that great or whatever. And I was just like, no, I'm not going to be part of that. I don't think any of us should be talking to him like that, and we should stop. And one of it wasn't even a teacher, it was like an aide, a classroom aide, wrote a note to my mom just saying, I couldn't believe that Morgan did that. And I didn't think anything of it when it was happening, but that was recognized by an adult, I think, showed to me like, well, maybe that's kind of unique that someone would do that. But I was just doing what I felt was right. My life hero, definitely my mom. I was raised mostly by my mom with my brother, and she's just sacrificed everything for us to get a chance to be who we wanted to be. And especially being adopted, I think I'm very focused on that idea that we all have innate potential, and it's just a matter of being in the circumstances to get to explore it and develop it. And my mom put everything on the line in her own comfort and stability in a way to make sure that I got that opportunity. So she is one of the strongest people I know, and I owe her everything. My favorite hobby? Exercising, probably, which doesn't seem like a relaxing one, but for me it's always helped me stay centered. So I love running, yoga, just being active. I love to be fit and active. People are usually surprised that I'm messy, because I think people have this sense that I'm very on top of everything, but I actually am very messy at home, and thank goodness my fiance is very organized because otherwise we would live in chaos. But yeah, I'm always leaving things everywhere, just kind of in my own head, so people are usually surprised to hear that. My childhood best friend was actually, I switched schools in the middle of childhood when I ended up going to Columbus Academy, and a girl named Elizabeth, who's still one of my friends today, helped on the campaign, became my really, really close friend. And I think we bonded over being outsiders a little bit in that environment. For me, I was the only Black woman and woman of color in my class at Columbus Academy for the entire time I was there. She was, a little overweight, and I think people were cruel to her because of that. And I think we bonded over just feeling like, what? We're better than this environment, and we're gonna get out of here, and we are great, we're awesome. We always had a lot of confidence in ourselves, even if the environment wasn't telling us that we should. I love dance. I used to bug my mother to get me into dance lessons. We couldn't really afford it, and I used to give her, probably until recently, a bit of a hard time. I was like, I could have been a great dancer. But I always really appreciated dance. I felt like a natural inclination towards it, but I have no formal training in it at all. But I still really appreciate going to see dance perform. I love musicals, and yeah, really, really appreciate dance as an art form. Favorite ice cream, probably black raspberry chip. Favorite dessert, though, I love dessert, but ice cream is not my favorite dessert. So I love pound cake, I love store-bought cake, I love German chocolate cake. I guess cake. My favorite quote, which I actually learned recently, was mistakenly attributed to Aristotle, but excellence is not an act, but a habit. So that to me, I think when City Center was still open and there were like those Franklin Covey stores or whatever, if you remember those, they would give away free cards with quotes, and I just saw that and it just like clicked for me. And this idea of, yeah, maybe you don't hit your goal every single time, but it's this like consistent process and effort to get where you're trying to go. And that's always really resonated with me. So excellence isn't an act, but a habit. My life mantra is, and maybe this is a different quote that sort of connects with me, but you know, what did you do when you were free? You know, I think a lot of us are conscious that this is the most free we've ever been in this country, and feeling a tremendous responsibility to just be relentless in pursuing the bounds of that freedom and in liberating other people to find their freedom. That is my mantra in a way. Like, I'm all about trying to get to collective liberation, build people up so that we can be our most powerful selves. It gets better. Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, I was not a super confident kid. I mean, I think the school that I was in wasn't uplifting. It was not telling me, like, you are beautiful, you are great, you are a leader, you know, we should be hearing from you. It was a really difficult experience to feel like I was the only one, and there weren't a lot of outlets to talk about that. And I think I struggled with that, even though I loved the academic experience. You know, it was kind of this like dual social experience versus academic. And so I think my 15-year-old self, that maybe at times was getting like too deep in in her feelings about, oh, I just need to get out of this environment, you know, letting her know that this isn't that important. You're gonna go on to experience so much more, and wait for it. So I was born here in Columbus at the Ohio State University Hospital. I was given up for adoption. I lived in a foster home for the first 9 months of my life, and then was adopted and raised on the east side near Livingston and James, we were just talking about. And like I said, mostly by my mom, who immigrated to Ohio actually from Trinidad. And you know, we had a lot going on early on. It was just like a lot of uncertainty when my parents got divorced, and it was scary, you know, just feeling that level of anxiety, like, oh my gosh, you know, your life could be like slipping away, and seeing that in my mom's eyes as well. And so I think that gave me a certain sense of empathy to what our country has created, you know, the type of environment that it's kind of unforgiving. You know, if you have one wrong move, that could be it for you. And that's what set me off into pursuing a career in public policy, in addition to seeing, you know, the segregation of opportunity here in Columbus, that we've got to do something about this. That I'm not special, and yeah, I got a lot of opportunity, but everybody should have access to that, you know, idea of living out their potential. And I've been doing that policy thing, and then ultimately realized, like, you know what? Who controls policy? Politicians, and I've got to become one of those, and I'm gonna give a shot and run for office. And even though, you know, we didn't win, you know, the first campaign, I think it has been an incredible opportunity to connect with so many people in the community that we resonated with, our messages that recognize that how we're living isn't sustainable, that we can do better, that people should have more stable lives, and want to work together to make that happen. So that's, you know, my future vision is just continuing to build and grow as a community so that every kid here gets a chance to live out their potential.